I like that.
The same applies to Rwanda, Burundi. So what are we federating?
Whether rats from another country can be, somebody must be there to hold everybody accountable.
But at the moment, we would rather deal with what we have, make it right.
First of all, we as elites of Uganda, we have made Museveni the issue. I can tell him Museveni is not the problem of Uganda. The problems of Uganda are much deeper. We can change the next 20 presidents and we'll still be this roundabout.
Deeply incisive.
The different political forces that we have in the country, in the country, we don't seem to really have achieved that minimum political consensus over certain things.
Authentically symbolic and insightful. Behind the Headlines, every Wednesday at 10 p.m. with Charles Odong-Thor. All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to this edition of Behind the Headlines, the 16th of March, 2022. I'm called Sarah Birete, standing in for Charles Odong-Thor, who is not able to be here with us tonight. And with us in the studio, we have distinguished panelists to discuss with us the parish development model and whether it can eliminate poverty. How much will the parish development model help in eliminating poverty in Uganda? I will start from the far left, introducing my guests tonight. I have Honorable Garabuzi Sozi Dennis. He's the National Coordinator for the Parish Development Model. Dennis, you're welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and good evening, viewers.
Next to Dennis is Honorable Medad Lwegasegona. He's the Member of Parliament for Busiro East. Honorable, you're welcome back to the show.
Many thanks. Good evening, Sarah, and to our viewers out there.
And next, we have Honorable Lillian Abel. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Abel.
Abel. Thank you very much.
For us in Luo, we say Abel.
Honorable Abel is the woman MP for Kitgum District and the former chairperson of the National Youth Council and so many other things. You're welcome, Lillian.
Thank you, Sarah, and good evening to the viewers.
And next to me in the immediate left is Mr. Edward Katende. Edward is the CEO for the Uganda Development Forum. Edward, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and good evening, viewers.
We are discussing a topic that is at the center of citizens' interest, especially the grassroots Ugandans. And recently, the president has launched the parish development model. And I would want to request the production team to play some background information on the parish development model to kick us off.
The main pillar here is income going from Okore Echida Chonka to working for the Echida and the pocket. We can conserve elephants in the national park, conserve the swamps, but not conserve poverty. Now we are doing everything wrong. We have changed. We shall get the money and give it to your government at the parish.
Yes, so that is the introduction of the parish development model. And in our hot seat in the studio, we have the coordinator himself. He has been preparing work on this model for quite some time. Honorable Garabuzi, can you introduce the parish development model to Ugandans?
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah and colleagues here. I will not say it in so many words. I usually like making it as simple as possible for everyone to understand. Just like you've seen the president say, it is a strategy. I've had so many people talk about it as a project or a program. It is a strategy to deliver services to the last mile, that is the parish, and the households to just enhance their incomes. We have people who are still living in the subsistence economy, and that is our target, and we want to get them out of that subsistence way of living and the subsistence economy into the money economy. So it is a strategy, a vehicle to deliver that promise that was done by the president in the manifesto, and also as a program and a strategy of the National Development Plan 3. So there are so many things we can talk about the parish model, but that is the summary of what the parish model is about.
Honorable, we have 10,595 parishes in Uganda. The average rural parish has a number of districts, but with less households. But when you come to the urban setup, a parish or a village has many households. A rural village has an average of 70 households. An urban village has an average of 1,000 households. How is this planning in the parish development model to make sure that there is equitable distribution of finances and opportunities for both rural and urban setups in our country?
Sarah, I will answer that in just two ways. Number one, what you're talking about is financial inclusion. You should know that the parish development model has many pillars. And like I said, it's a strategy of intervention at the parish. It has very many pillars. It is targeting the communities in the parishes wholesomely. So we are taking the whole government down to the parish. All service delivery sectors are going to be at the parish. But to be specific with your question, you're asking about the financial inclusion bit of it. And another thing that you should know, and that the viewers should know, is that this particular strategy is targeting 39% of the people who are still in the subsistence economy. 39%, not everyone. It's not targeting Honorable Medad Segona, who has a very nice, beautiful farm in Nabingo, which I'm yet to go to. He's a farmer. He recently called himself the #1 mularo. So it's not targeting Honorable Lilian Abel. It's not targeting you, Sarah. It is targeting those people that are still in subsistence economy. And the subsistence economy does not necessarily mean subsistence agriculture, but anything that deals with one who just gets from hand to mouth. That phrase that he got from Bugweri, from Chibuku, Okorere Shida Chonka, it's working for your stomach only. And we are saying that these 39% are caught in this vicious cycle of no income, no savings, no investment, and again, no income. And it's a vicious cycle. This is what we are trying to break. To bridge the gap of Sarah and the Mwejere down there, who works for Chida Chonka. We're trying to bridge that gap. Now, to do that, we are targeting those 39%. So, to answer your question directly, because I've heard this mainly from legislators and leaders from the central region. And they have a very good concern, it's a legitimate concern that they have. I'll give you some statistics. The parishes in central region has 1,701 parishes, okay? Meaning that they will get 170 billion. I saw it somewhere. And Eastern region has 3,273 parishes, meaning that they will get 327 billion. Okay? And yet the population does not match, isn't it? Central region has 11 million population, and Eastern region has 10 million. But if you break down these figures and you say the subsistence households, the households that are still in subsistence, you will see that there are less households in central region that are still in subsistence. I will tell you about poverty figures, because poverty is almost related to subsistence, but not quite. The poverty levels in Buganda region, central region, let me even talk about Kampala, is about 1.3%. Those are your both statistics, okay? When you take Central Region as a whole, you will find that the subsistence households are much less because the percentage is low. Central Region subsistence households are 19%. The ones in Eastern Uganda are 52%. So when you do the math, Sarah and Honorable Segona, and maybe, I think Honorable Abel is also a lawyer, isn't it?
I'm not a lawyer.
Oh, you're not a lawyer. But you did some basic math. So I think you can do the calculation and the math.
Are you biased against lawyers?
and you will find that there is some equity.
Okay, but before I let you go, you've talked about people involved in subsistence farming. So what is the criteria for accessing funds under the parish development model? Who qualifies, who doesn't qualify, and how different is it from previous programs that have been aimed at alleviating poverty at the grassroots?
Okay, and I think therein lies your answer. How different is it? And the answer to how are they going to access the funds is where the answer lies, actually, to your second question. Now, we have changed modus operandi. President Museveni has been very consistent with his message of socio-economic transformation. That's one of the 4 pillars of our ideology as NRM. I am an NRM member, and I'm not afraid to say it, even though I'm a civil servant now. It has been one of the pillars of our ideology, socio-economic transformation. He has said it over and over again, time immemorial. He has stayed with the same objective and the same goal. Now, one would wonder why then make so many programs and change nomenclature. Of course, there is branding and there is so many things. But every other time, as long as you have an objective, the path that takes you to that objective is what in most cases changes. That is the approach. Now, we thought out this time and said, let's change the approach. Before, we used a top-to-bottom approach. And this time around, we are trying to use a bottom-to-top approach. What am I saying? This time around, the money is going to circles, parish circles. These parish circles constitute enterprise groups. Because you didn't give me enough time to explain the model properly, but I think I have someone there who will even explain it in detail, because now I've used a lot of time. But these parish circles are constituted by enterprise groups, which enterprise groups comprise of households. Now, that is the hierarchy of how you get to the circle, from household, enterprise group, up to the parish circle. Now, the parish circle is the bank. But all these are member ownership, it's member owned. These are member owned organizations and associations. Now, the money is going to come from Ministry of Finance, from the single treasury account, direct to this parish circle, which is member owned. Now, the advantage here and the difference with other programs is that this is going to be appraised by the members themselves, monitored by the members themselves, evaluated by the members themselves. The money that is given to these circles is a grant from government, but when it gets to the circle, it revolves with little interest. I'll give you something and give me a little more time. I'll give you an example of how it's going to operate. You know, every village. In brief. Yes, in brief. You know, in every village, I think Honorable Segona and Honorable Bear will attest to this. Every village has a VSLA, what they call a VSLA, Village Savings and Loan Association. When I was campaigning in 2014, I looked at these VSLAs, and they were practically not regulated. Most of them are informal. But for any politician, you wanted to go where there are people, where there is a gathering, so that you can give out your message. You don't want to mobilize people with your cash. You want to find them already mobilized. So I went and sat in this VSLA, and I listened to their operations. I was in shock. No regulations, they are very informal, but their efficacy in their way of operating was coming close to 98%. Why? Because they are appraising themselves, they are monitoring themselves, they are evaluating themselves. And it is a cash round, and it's a revolving fund. So just look at the parish model and the parish circle as an expansion of that VSLA, and now put same modus operandi put at the parish. And for me, I just believe that the moment you empower these people, they know what to do. You just have to regulate them and guide them, educate them, and that's why one of the pillars is mindset change.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I would like to bring in Honorable Segon at this point. Honorable, you represent the opposite side of government, the opposition, and I know you have launched, last year you launched the alternative legislative agenda, but in that agenda you had elements of empowering the people for economic recovery or economic transformation. But as an MP with people who are going to benefit from this program, does this sound like the magic bullet for fighting poverty in Uganda?
Well, thank you, Sarah. First of all, congratulations upon your elevation to the office of moderator. The last I appeared with you here, you were also moderated. My brother Dennis, my young brother Dennis, has labored to explain.
Well, maybe younger brother, because you can see the color of the hair.
Dennis has labored to explain. One of the things he has said is that this time round it's a strategy. It's not a program, it's not a project.
It's not a project.
And I agree with him that it is a strategy, except that this time it's a political strategy, which he does not want to reveal. Number two, he has also said that President Museveni has been very consistent on this thing called economic transformation. Yes, he's been consistent. For 36 years, he's been consistent, and there are no results. You know, the Bishop of Namirembe used to tell us of those old days reports where they would say mathematics, afuba na ebigana. That is trying, but things are not working out. So President Museveni is trying, but things are not working out. Depending on what his strategy is, number one, you want to empower this rural subsistence person from what to what, and with a view to achieving what. I thought we were talking about...
Isn't it obvious?
It cannot be obvious, especially to the most intelligent in the country. One, you want to empower this person. How does that translate into economic growth and development for the country? Because the concern would ordinarily not be about the individual Galabuzi who doesn't have money, either who has failed to work or things have not worked for him, but for the country. And I've always said, one, if you're poor, you cannot enrich another poor man. Let's accept that the government itself is poor. Uganda is a poor country. I would not delve into why we're a poor country, but I've seen today, I've added on to the reasons why Uganda remains a poor country with a backward economy. Because the leaders themselves have not appreciated anything called economics. In economics, you must have propel those factors that will pull others. Two, you must carry out a scientific study why those people you're calling subsistence remain subsistence. And I've actually confirmed that the reason we remain with the predominantly subsistence economy is because the leaders themselves are subsistence in mindset. In Kampala, where you're collecting and generating taxes to develop the economy, people are closing their shops. As a result of COVID-19, people are not working. They are closing their shops, either because of rent or capital. They have eaten all the money. And those have demonstrated that they have the capacity to create wealth that can help pull others from poverty. Now you go, without a framework, you say, oh, when I last visited that circle, they were doing very well. Informally, some can't even write. You can't blame them. You have so many factors. Somebody might have eaten their future. especially if you go to meet young ladies of my young sister's age who did not go to school in the villages, carrying their children on the back, etc. They can't even write their names because somebody ate the schools, somebody ate the hospitals and their future. My view is, ordinarily, an economy staggering like ours, or struggling, you would be starting with those that can create wealth, and then it spreads. But those you are collecting the taxes from, to take to those villages we're talking about, are closing shops. Others are out of job. Yesterday, but one, I received a call from somebody who sounded like a young female voter, who told me she's a graduate, I think, of economics or development studies, and needed money to start a mobile money business because she's tired of looking for jobs. I really felt for this lady. Yeah. And painfully, I gave her an appointment to say, okay, you come, I want to listen to you. Perhaps you could be an example to many others. Now, many people have closed their mobile money shops as a result of COVID. Many people have lost merchandise. Okay, let's go to those villages and see. One of the reasons why they have been succeeding in those small circles of theirs is because it's their money. And therefore, everybody is the other's monitor. History and experience has shown in this country, when government gives those so-called grants, they understand that to be political. We are being rewarded. And when you go to the structures for managing this, one of them, I think, is the NRM chairman in the village. What has that got to do with the political party? And they will answer that this is the political party in power.
It's not NRM chairman.
It's what? NRM what?
It is the chairman of the party, ruling party. So even you, if you won elections today,
you see,
you would still
exactly, and that's where the fundamental problem begins. Okay? That is a political party. It is purely in politics and mobilization for their party. But you think those are the ones who should be managing a public fund. These people have failed to distinguish between a political party and the state, because this is money from the state.
But Honorable, have you read the guidelines very well?
Honorable, if you may, just this session, let everybody make a guess, then you will interject in the next
have never crossed into illiteracy, and you know this.
But you're portraying it right now.
Please, Honorable,
yes.
If that's
what your glasses are giving you, I am really not responsible for how much you appreciate the basic English language. But the point is here. He has said they're targeting those 39%. The assumption and presumption is therefore that the 61% are okay. I don't know whether this is scientific or statistical and where you get it from. It is, of course, an illusion and a delusion. The 61% are not okay. Why are Ugandans poor? There are many factors. Some of these factors do not relate to the absence of capital. No. Look at two. The infrastructure which is supposed to deliver the goods to the market, and generally the economic situation being bad. That's number one. Number two, in 2016, I supported Go Forward. One of the models we had developed in our manifesto.
For political expedience.
Well, you may take it, but just listen to understand it first. And I think that's what people do, those that want to learn. We went and did a scientific study and found that 70% of the produce, and that is for agriculture, fail because of poor storage, post-harvest handling. And one of the solutions we are offering is at every sub-county, that was our model, At every sub-county, we would have a community bank for those that want to access money as loans, government loan, but also the community silo. You harvest, immediately after harvesting, we would help you as government now, we would help you store your harvest. Now, you are not addressing that. Number two, you're not addressing the market as a fundamental question. Number three, President Museveni started with modernization of agriculture. And there is no single irrigation scheme started by this government, apart from Mobuku, that I know, which was started by Idi Amin. The others have been sponsored by World Bank and not government. People are depending entirely on the seasons, on the rainy season.
Honorable, if I may interject and ask you two questions so
Yes.
that you sum up your preamble, this round, yes. You sit on the Public Accounts Committee.
That's correct.
As the vice chair.
No, as chairman.
As chair, sorry, my apologies. As chairperson, gender sensitivity. Yes, what is our capacity to finance this model? I know that the current budget is 44 trillion, but out of that we are able to generate 20 trillion as a country. It's less than half of the budget. And we have to outsource through borrowing, both domestically and internationally, to cover the budget that we are implementing. And I think recently it was narrowed down because the expectations for even covering the budget as approved were not met. So what are the chances that we have capacity to finance the parish development model, give every parish 100 million, where the budget would go into 1,059 billion shillings? Where are we getting this money from?
First, Public Accounts Committee ordinarily does post-mortem.
Yes.
Because we investigate after expenditure. But luckily, by virtue of that position, I sit on the Budget Committee. And your figures are correct. How we intend to generate those monies, just on Monday, the day before today, yesterday but one, we had the PSST, Dr. Gobi, and was telling us, you're saying we cut your budget. What do you want us to do? We are running a cash budget.
Yeah.
I can only spend what I have collected. And this morning, as I was coming from home to town, I found 2 roadblocks of police officers plucking off number plates, etc. So I stopped and said, jokingly, I asked a police officer, I know, why are you stealing people's number plates? And he said, but you people, you set targets for us. We're poor, we must recover this money from the people. So I said, oh yes, this is now the true translation of a cash economy. That when these people default, we don't get money. So when we run short of cash, we go on the streets to try to collect. And that's what exactly Dr. Gobi was telling us. We cannot finance even half of our budget.
Yeah, current budget.
Yes, exactly. And the donors themselves are also freezing. Why? Because they're also experiencing problems back home as a result of COVID. So this is a time, and I want to take the Prime Minister's word when she came to Parliament yesterday in good faith. She said it is time now to tighten because you know that you're not earning well. So I don't want to say these people cannot generate that money. I know they can generate it if they choose not to steal it. They can generate, and that's number one. Number two, if this is a priority. But making this priority and a new priority means that you would have to cut money from other areas. I hope they will look at the different sources where they can cut the budget and finance this. But even when they get it, my concern is actually not getting that money.
It's the fiscal discipline.
The fiscal discipline, which we lack as Ugandans, both government and individuals. Chisamba Mugerwa, may his soul rest in eternal peace, his Entandikwa program was understood politically. And people who took the money never returned it. Emyoga is still in disarray. And the reason is because there is no discipline, there is no legal framework, there is no policy framework approved and discussed by stakeholders across the administration structure of the country. Actually, we were supposed to discuss this PDM as Parliament today. No, it was meant to be last week on Friday. We didn't discuss it. We have not discussed it this week. That's when they are supposed to come and tell us this is what it's about. But in the meantime, they have already started implementing. So whatever views we have are post-mortem. Finally, because you seem to be running out of time, those ones have failed. And when we ask them, where is the legal framework, they say, no, there is the Cooperative Society, the Cooperative Act, something of the sort. There's the Local Governments Act. These things were not envisaged when we were making those laws. There is no legal framework. For example, tell me, what constitutes that parish cooperative you're talking about into a legal entity that you can sue and recover money from in the event of loss? Zero. Who is the accounting officer for this money? There's no answer. Because he said the money will fly from Ministry of Finance and go to the parish. When they were about to start this thing, just before that.
No, I want to come to Honorable. You will respond.
I kept quiet. Just note. I want to trust his memory. Unless he advises me otherwise.
You conclude.
Yes. When they were planning to implement this at the parish level, the first thing they did was to remove the administration unit at the parish. You know, when they were starting Bonaba Some, what is it called? Bonaba Some? Universal Primary Education. They removed all primary teachers' colleges. So, staffed the program of teachers and started it. Now, there is no administration at the parish. But that's where they want to start it from.
Thank you very much, Honorable Segon, and I want to come right to Honorable Abel. You represent the women of Kitgum in Parliament, but you also speak for the NRM caucus. I would like to know, in your view, is there inclusion of women in this program? Women, youth, you are just out of the biggest constituency of National Youth Council. How can the women, the youth, and the other vulnerable groups be taken care of in the parish development model, but in addition to the issues that you want to share?
Thank you very much, Sarah. I think we all agree that access to financing is very key. And we also do agree that the backbone of this country is mainly in agriculture. If you bring in the element of women, it's on paper and record that most of the interventions that has involved women have proven to be successful. If you take an example of a web, the success stories are quite many. So looking at the parish development model, I think this is one of the models we should look at as a trigger to, getting people out of poverty. You see, government cannot fail to try something, just all in the names of fearing to fail, or all in the names of saying the past projects or the past programs, those strategies didn't work. For me as a person and someone who is on ground engaging with the local people, I have very high faith that the parish model will yield good fruits. Number one, if money is sent up to almost the second lowest unit, and that is the parish. A parish is like a cluster of the villages. So by all means, at least the local man or the layman down there will gain something. We have been crying about the bureaucracies involved in all the government programs or interventions. But this one now we are saying money is going to be sent directly from finance to the grassroots. And the people who are supposed to manage the money are those who are within the cluster or the group or the circle who are going to receive the money. So looking at that easy access, I think I have faith that the parish development model will yield fruits. There are only few issues that needs to be addressed, and that is identifying, the key areas within, because you see, not every area has got the same issues. There are some parts of the country that might be good at a certain, say production of a certain commodity.
You're talking of comparative advantage.
Absolutely. So we will need to engage, put in a lot of efforts in the training, and before money is given to the people, we need to do a lot of trainings. So that I know I have a guided selection of enterprise, and that will really help in attaining the success. For example, when you look at agriculture as a sector, agriculture will look at the inputs, and you look at the high productivity, the quality, the value chain, the value addition. So probably if I am going to give money for a certain group on maybe procurement of machines, I may not give the same amount of money I'm giving other groups. So we have to look at investing money in the training, investing money in guiding people in the enterprise selection, and also motivation of these technical people we have recruited at the level of the parish chiefs, and probably engage on, negotiations on markets, because I am looking at a overlooming, productivity coming up. But where are we going to sell these products? That we have to capture within the parish model. But I think my fears and my challenges as a member of parliament would be handled within the parish model, because what I want is, can my people access some finances? The Kitgum district, if I am to fight poverty, what are those interventions? I'm looking at agriculture, yes, agriculture. Then I look at the market. Where are the markets for the commodities we are going to produce? But also the people who are within the town areas.
Are you looking at the whole value chain, or you're just looking at raw materials going to the market? Because the reason many people are poor is lack of value addition, lack of fulfilling the whole value chain to benefit the farmers, and they are cheated by middlemen.
But that is where I'm bringing the issue of the parish model, capturing all those issues. That yes, we need to support if we are giving probably funds to a certain group, because we can support more than 10 groups in a parish with a little money, but can we support the different interventions so that we don't support the same things? Can we also look at procurement of equipment, like we need now tractors? Can we have more tractors brought on ground? They now have the money, they can capture the money for hiring the tractors. We don't need to buy using the money for the parish model, but can we coordinate or talk to some of other, probably the investors? Yeah, outsource.
Because I wanted to ask Honorable Garavzi whether there is an element of capital financing in this parish model. I have not seen it in the guidelines. But go ahead, maybe he will tell us when he comes back.
Yeah, so that element of outsourcing, like people who are having tractors, can we get into an MOU with them as government and say, you'll provide this, and the money that we are going to be putting on ground, supporting the groups that are there, can still pay. But we need to cater for all the small issues, the challenges that the groups may face. But for me, I think we must focus more of the funding of the parish model on agriculture, but also looking at the parishes within the municipalities. what will be their source of interest? Probably for them, the areas they'll focus on would be maybe small industrial, interventions. Maybe someone wants to put money into welding, someone wants to put money into metal fabrication, or someone wants to put money in maybe tailoring or other things. So we have to cater for all that. But having looked at the parish model, I am not afraid to start. My only fear is that if our people are not given enough training, then maybe they can go into wrong interventions. But this is a program that if we all take one, and I think this is an opportunity, even an opposition shouldn't look at it like this is just a government strategy to campaign. No, I mean, if you are taking money to your people and they're going to change their lives with it, then it is okay. I thought when you're giving alternative views, those that can work. I don't expect actually people to think about parish model as a means of campaign.
Yes, Honorable, I've heard that there are quotas gazetted for different vulnerable categories, 30% for the women. I don't know the percentage for youth, of which half should go for the female youth, and then the 10% for the people with disabilities. But I do not see where this is captured in writing. Is it a gentleman's agreement? Is this the decision? Maybe since Parliament has not been officially briefed, are you aware about this, and how is it going to be implemented?
Yes, I am absolutely aware about the percentage, and it's captured in the document that I received a copy of the document, and it's purely captured, the percentage for the women.
About
but of
youth?
course, youth and disability.
What is the percentage for youth? I'm sure the viewer out there would like to know, the young people would like to know. They are the majority of this country.
It is 30% for
women,
30% for youth, 10%
and then the disability.
for PWDs, 10% for elderly, and 20% for the Segunas.
You see, my sister Sarah, capturing that is just paperwork, but practically, the majority of the beneficiaries of this program will be the women. Women, all the programs that are down there on ground, women are easily moved, and they're more serious.
But we are the most affected when it comes to financing and borrowing, even including financial institutions.
For me, I can tell you the women will benefit more from this program.
They have 30%.
You know, I have been on the forefront of the implementation of the Youth Livelihood Program. I can tell you, you say this percentage are for the youth, but those who are very passionate about fighting poverty, and those whom, actually I would even want the team to add more money to the women. Because they're the ones who are going to work hard. The woman wants to see that poverty is out of her home. But the young people will say this is a government program. They are given the money, and I mean, they just want the handouts, and that is it. But this money is actually, you are supposed to use it, and it's supposed to be a revolving fund. You pass it on to someone else. So for me, I think I want us leaders to take the mantle to explain correctly the whole idea about the parish model. This is money from government meant to empower the people, and it's something that can change lives of the communities. If we speak this, but if we start saying punching holes now, even before.
No, but punching holes should help the people preparing the program.
Yeah, we can give alternative. That's just like I'm telling you. I am a member of the NRA, but I'm saying we need more time to do sensitization, to train people.
So was it launched in a rush?
My issue is, no, it is not launched in a rush. We still have time to correct a number of things.
Then that's why you need feedback to improve.
Yeah, we need feedback, but we don't need statements that say NRM is using this for campaign. This is something meant to fight poverty.
Edward, you've worked in expert capacity in this program, and
no, it's a strategy.
The owners, the chief.
He has very good command of the English.
No, you've called it a strategy, yes. Sorry, so you've worked on this strategy. It is a strategy. Okay, the expert confirms it is a strategy. So I would like to hear from you, your general views, but also how different is this program? Because if you look at the summary of it, it sounds like Ntandikwa. Ntandikwa was meant to be a revolving fund, but I don't think it ever revolved. So how different is this in terms of becoming a magic bullet now for fighting poverty?
Thank you very much, Sarah. I think I need to demystify the philosophy that the parish model is only about money. Like Honorable Karab said, it is a strategy for accelerating jobs and wealth creation. And how do you achieve that? We bring development to the parish. Why do we pick the parish? Because in terms of government administration, contrary to what Honorable Segona said, that we removed administration. In terms of government administration, the lowest civil servant is at the parish, and that is the parish chief. And the government of Uganda has now filled all positions of parish chiefs across the country. So we bring the development closest to the people with a commander there who can help us to administer this program. Now, when we talk development, I will take you to my village, Kagerikam, parish, Kagerikam, Sekanyonyi Mitiana. In Sekanyonyi Mitiana, a subsistence household there has been excluded from many government programs. Whether you're talking about UAP, whether you're talking about the youth livelihood programs, even in Myoga, those that are in agriculture have been excluded for years. So this time round, the government is coming to say, look, what does development look like in Kagerikam? In Kagerikam, development looks like this. We need a water point in each and every village so that our children, our people can access clean drinking water. Not only that, they can access water for production. Honorable, you have talked about the drought, the issue of irrigation. We cannot irrigate without access to water for production. For those in the cattle corridors, water is even more important because during the dry season, we lose cows. If you look at the statistics for Uganda, poverty levels were coming down until 2016, when the drought hit us. And what did that mean? Most of our domestic production suffered. So parish development means water in my village, at my village level. Parish production means storage in our locality. Parish development means having a school with a good teacher. Some of us went to rural schools. We had a good teacher. And because of that, we came from subsistence families. We were very poor. But because of that good education, we are now able to compete with the best in the world. It's because we got education. We were not given money. But this is what parish development is bringing to that level. We are prioritizing health. It is extremely important for us. We are not just looking at health from a curative perspective, where you talk about health centers and hospitals. We are looking at preventive health, which is coming from good nutrition, which is coming from good hygiene, which is coming from awareness of the different risks that will put you in the hospital. So we want to save the government a lot of money in terms of public health. Parish development for us also means processing facilities, that it is not enough for people to produce. They must add value to what they are producing. In Sekanyonyi Mitiana, if we only produce our maize and sell it in the raw form, within the same parish, we have poultry farmers. Within the same parish, we have piggery farmers. Their biggest challenge now is feeds. But if you sell the maize out without processing it, it gives us a problem. So if we process our maize, we have a maize mill in the parish or at a sub-county level, we are now able to get the posho, sell it, but get the chachu, which becomes an ingredient in our feeds. So parish development, therefore, is bigger than the financial inclusion, which is a component of development. If you look at development, you think about the factors of production. Land is a key factor of production. Labor is a key factor of production. This is why we're talking about the human capital, the education, the health. Capital is extremely important, not only for rich people. Honorable Segona, just for your information, it is sad that the people in Kampala and urban areas have been hit badly by COVID-19. But government brought different forms of financing. At the onset of COVID-19 at Parliament, you approved a huge budget for Uganda Development Bank, 1 trillion. We borrowed money and invested it there. This financial year alone, we had a startup fund for SMEs, which has been approved. So, but the people that the parish model is targeting have not been receiving anything. Emioga came. It is for people, again, in urban areas who are involved in the service sector, in the border, in the saloons, the carpenters you're talking about. The farmers who are producing and feeding us in this country have been struggling to get access to capital.
Edward, on that very point.
Yes.
Honorable Garab says the parish development model is going to work through parish circles.
Yes.
The people in rural circles are the elite in those areas. So if you're saying you you will come in, Irian. You will come in, just hold on, I ask my question. There are people in the villages who have even no capacity to join circles. So if you say that the delivery of this model is circles, what will happen to those people in the villages who have no capacity to join circles?
Okay, that is our target.
The first activity is your client.
That's what the viewer wants to know.
Yes, our client is the subsistence household. So the first activity is to identify that particular client. Once you have identified them, you carefully select an enterprise that can maximize returns on investment using the small land they have. Because statistics have revealed that on average, they're using about 1.3 acres. And so you are looking for an enterprise that can maximize return per acre per annum for that kind of a person. But that enterprise must be connected to a market. You're not just picking, because somebody told you pigs are good and you just pick them. It must be connected to a market. And the commercial officers at the district and the sub-county level are helping our people and guiding them. The extension officer, which is science, is working with the commercial officer, which is business, to carefully prepare these people into an enterprise group with a community development officer into an enterprise group based around an enterprise. Those enterprises within a parish, enterprise groups within a parish, federate at the parish level to form what we call the PDM circle. It is a multi-purpose cooperative which coordinates production. It coordinates marketing of their produce. It coordinates financial services, which is now the money you're talking about. It also coordinates technical services, like extension services.
Technical assistance.
Technical assistance. If they want to choose, they can invest in facilities. There's nothing that stops them as a parish to say, for us, we are going to gazette that area, and it becomes a collection point where we'll all take our matoke. I've seen that in Ankole.
Okay.
Yes.
So will this enterprise be subject to this tax that is on circles in Uganda? Because circles are required to pay tax on their chargeable incomes in form of interest income they earn on loans they make to their members. So will these circles, under the parish development model, also be taxed? And how does that help alleviate poverty?
What we are doing under the parish development model is to actually formalize businesses. So these people who have actually been operating informally, when you put them into a formal legal entity, which is a cooperative,
they'll be taxed,
registered by the registrar of cooperatives. So it is not any different from any other legal entity.
No, please, we are asking here.
Yes.
It's not for me to understand.
Yes.
It is for the viewers out there, and this show has a lot of rural listenership. So please answer in precise terms. These circles will be taxed.
If it earns a taxable income, like any responsible Ugandan, they will be taxed on the profit that they make. Mark you, they are getting money from a public fund. So you don't want them to be receiving from the taxpayer and then make the profit.
Is there a window? Because when people get commercial loans in banks, they have a window before they pay interest on these loans. Is there a window?
Can I just give some?
No, let him conclude, then you come in.
Yeah,
because I'm coming next to you.
On the loans in the circle, the guideline is that for capital, for operating expenditure, you are looking at between 0 to 1 year. But the circle can peak to invest in a capital asset. So that can take a maximum of 3 years. In terms of interest rate, there will be a small interest rate of 5% charged at a cooperative level. In terms of the gestation period, that gestation period will be structured in such a way that repayment coincides with when you start getting in money. So if you borrow today to grow maize and you're expected to sell maize within 5 months, you are not going to pay the following month. You will only pay when you sell your maize. So that is how different it is.
And if I'm hit by drought and I don't...
If you're hit by drought, we have an agriculture insurance scheme where government is subsidizing up to 70% of the premium. So this loan will have insurance, agriculture insurance embedded within it.
And the beneficiary pays the 30% insurance.
The beneficiary pays 30% of the insurance, but embedded in the loan.
We are going to go for a break shortly, but before we go for a break, briefly, can you explain to the viewers out there what are the safeguards in this parish development model to cushion a taxpayer from losses we have incurred in Entandikwa and other previous programs that are similar to this?
Yeah, that's a long discussion, but the first thing is we are digitizing all processes. We are going to give a digital ID to each and every borrower on the system, so that if you have borrowed and defaulted in Mukono, you will never access the money, whether you move to Sekanyonyi or you go to Masaka, we will see you.
But I can steal this and walk away.
Okay,
no, that is one safety.
Our dear viewers out there,
I'm coming to others.
We are going to take a break, and you can join this program using Twitter on the hashtag UBC Behind the Headlines. Please send out your questions. Some of the questions have already come in. Questions, comments, recommendations, as we discuss the parish development model. Please don't dare touch your dial. We shall be back.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 30 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 80 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 180 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Did you know that wasting water like that is causing harm to the environment? Did you know that water is vital for agriculture, industries, transport, energy, amidst other growing demands?
You mean water is that important?
Be in class now. Water resources are part of the environment, and their sustainable management and development is key in mitigating the increasing risks and shocks related to climate change. Join the Uganda Water and Environment Week 2022 from 28th to 25th March 2022 under the theme Water and Environment for Peace and Socio-Economic Transformation of Uganda, as we discuss the role of water and environment resource management and development in promoting peace and stability. The Uganda Water and Environment Week is organized by the Ministry of Water and Environment through the Water Resources Institute in collaboration with other partners. For more information, call 0782 662205 or 0753 153791.
There have always been hard times, but these days are harder than most. Everyone is hurting. Everyone needs help. But some among us are asking the question, what if we didn't have to go through life's hardest moments alone? What if we were in it together? And just by asking that question, he changed my son's life. He created an online crowdfunding platform for Ugandans to help raise money for each other.
Thank you, Nixon, for helping me.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you. who harness the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Mirinda.
Grab yourself an ice cold bottle of Mirinda Orange at any shop or supermarket near you. Mirinda Orange, the taste that makes you go OMG.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
COVID-19 is still here with us. As Professor Maggie Chigozi states, the time is now for all of us to get vaccinated.
When we have one person who's not vaccinated, it affects everybody around them, most especially the ones close to you. Keep your family safe. Anyone right now who's over 18 should go and get vaccinated.
Because of the new COVID-19 circulating variants like Omicron, it is very important for all of us to be fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the same vaccine type. It's only those getting Johnson & Johnson who receive only a single dose to be fully protected.
Even after vaccination, continue to adhere to all SOPs by wearing a mask properly, covering your mouth and nose, washing your hands regularly with soap and clean water, or using an alcohol-based sanitizer, maintaining physical distance of at least 2 meters from others, and avoiding crowds. Echa COVID-19, chija kugwa. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and partners.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thank you very much. We are back on air, and I've been going through comments on Twitter. Viewers out there, please keep them coming. I will read a few of them, but there are also questions that panelists have been noting as submissions were ongoing. Somebody called Danny Nyeko is asking Honorable Garabuzi Sozi whether the parish development model caters for the unemployed university graduates and how. There is another question coming in from Mzee Mutagubia. Sorry if I don't pronounce your names well. We need to interrogate whether this is honestly part of what the PSST, and PSST is not here. Mr. Ramadan Gob is not here with us. He used to be a panelist on this show. Is this the economics that work that we have been promised? So Honorable Garabuzi and Edward, please help tell the viewers out there whether this is something that they can trust as a country, embrace and work with to be able to get, if you use the Kenyan slogan of the economy that works, introduced by His Excellency Mwai Kibaki. So Honorable Garabuzi, you can go first, but also for our panelists, this is an interactive show. Feel free to interject and come in whenever another panelist is speaking.
Interject with information.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. There are quite a number of things I've noted. But I wanted to start from where we had stopped before we went to the break. There is an assumption that if you introduce taxation, then things will not work out for the poor person. I thought you can have a successful business or a successful enterprise, even with taxation. And I think it also brings very good fiscal discipline if taxation is part of the equation. But I wouldn't want to paint grim or to look at it in a grim way, that if taxes are introduced, then there's going to be a big problem. I think that is a normal bit of entrepreneurship.
Honorable Garabuzi, sorry, in commercial lending or financing for development, there is normally a window through which you are exempted from paying tax or an interest, so that you are able to break even, and then you can service the loan or pay taxes.
I think Edward answered that there is a grace period, of course, for depending on what kind of enterprise you're doing. So if you're doing coffee, they don't expect you to pay, first of all, the interest, the monthly installments, until you start reaping. Those are some of the things we have put in the bylaws and the regulations, some of the regulations that we have come up with, and the manuals, the enterprise manuals.
If you can help inform that viewer, what is the grace period, for example?
No, it depends on the enterprise. It all depends on the enterprise. Different enterprises, of course, will have different grace periods, depending on the maturity and the break-even point that you're talking about. Okay. But that one...
But technically, in Uganda, you are only taxed on the profits, and there is a threshold as well. So if your business has not made any profits, don't worry about taxes.
So that's okay. About interest.
But if interest is income, which goes into the computation of the profit. So if you're computing your profit, you look at income from, for example, interest income, you look at the profit from the sale of the produce you have bought and sold. So then you aggregate that, knock off all your expenses, including wages, rent, blah, blah. If you make a profit,
but we are talking of agriculture here.
Are you saying agriculture is not profitable?
Going by I will refer to the book by Honorable Suluma Ezra. He said the problem we are lacking, particular financing for agriculture in this country, is assuming that in agriculture you can generate interest like somebody who is in wholesale business. But let me leave you to...
It depends on the intervention.
I'm talking about agriculture.
You know,
that's why the interest rate is 5%.
You know, we are going to... I think what I'm picking up from here is that there is very little, and this is not to be condescending, but there is little education about this. And I think I'm getting feedback.
As a coordinator, have you sensitized people?
We are going, we are starting.
It's a process.
It's a process, and you can't just learn in one day.
And we are learning, we will be co-opted along the way. So you don't educate us at the beginning, but we will follow.
This is still the beginning. The beginning can be quite a process, you know. So you can't give it a finite.
The beginning is usually longer.
Beginning is not finite.
The beginning is usually longer.
It's a process.
No, it's the beginning of the beginning.
It's a process. But I wanted to get back to this fundamental issue that we didn't discuss. The parish model, by the way, is premised on 7 pillars, and that's one thing I think we didn't introduce earlier. It's premised on 7 pillars. The first pillar is the agricultural value chain development. That is production, productivity, post-harvest handling that he was talking about, processing, the value addition, the logistics, which is trade up to the market. And we are handling that. Ministry of Agriculture is the lead in that with Ministry of Trade. So we are making sure that we handle that under the first pillar. The second pillar is infrastructure. Infrastructure and economic services. Infrastructure is what he was again talking about. The second pillar of infrastructure, that is roads, choke points, the bridges, that is the inter-parish connectivity. Electricity, because if you're going to do value addition or processing, you need electricity up to the last mile, and the last mile is the parish. We are also talking about water for production, okay? Even ICT, because some of this information we are going to be uploading it directly by the parish chief. The third pillar is financial inclusion, and this is what everyone is talking about. That's what everyone is focusing on. Money, 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 money. But it's not the only one. It's very important and it's critical, because It handles one of the biggest factors of production, which is capital, both and it's handling the monetary capital and not necessarily the asset capital. Then you're talking about the fifth pillar. The fourth pillar rather, is social services, which is health, education, and all these things in social services, environment. The fifth pillar is mindset change and community mobilization. Now that is where I wanted actually, and it prompted me to talk about the different pillars. Mindset change should actually, I've noticed, it should start with us here and the leaders themselves. I want to see Honorable Segona Medad, my younger brother with gray hair. I want to see him change his mindset. I want him to have some positivity and optimism in something that he believes is going to help his people. If he's to critique this strategy or this intervention, let him critique it with at least some option, or rather critique it constructively, rather than just throw grim on it as if these people, because I heard him say something very, it was quite disheartening, to say, let's first leave these people and we have these hubs, let's first handle these hubs and boost them, and then the have-nots will come and join in. It's like, that is the exclusion, the financial exclusion we have been talking about. And this is why this whole intervention is about inclusion. And the financial inclusion pillar has been labeled that way, financial inclusion. No one should be left out in this economy, more so the subsistence homes. So,
Honorable, before we leave the pillars, if I may ask a question.
But let me finish them before, because it's very critical.
Okay.
Now, that is the fifth pillar, mindset change and community mobilization. We are mobilizing these people to train them. Training is not a one-day activity. Mindset change is not a one-day activity. This can be done in perpetuity. I will tell you, religion up to today, 2,000 years later, we go to church every Sunday, but they're still sinners. Every Sunday we are going to we are reminded, Medad, you're reminded every day that these are the things they call sinners, and these are the things they do for you to qualify to be a sinner. But you still commit immediately after you get out of church. So it is something that you have to keep on doing. But also, for me, I believe personally, this is something it's my opinion, that mindset change may not necessarily have to be teaching and education and these financial literacies and all these things we're talking about, but can also be incentives. Incentivizing can quickly change someone's thought process, and he sees that this could be the direction wenyinza okufunira, like the Baganda say. Wenyinza okufunira positively, not these ones, wenyinza okufunira nenziba and I run away. So
if you can say those words in English,
yes,
because this is an English program.
It is where I can rip quick and run.
Okay.
That's not the kind of people we are trying to target. And we are trying to be optimistic as much as possible and positive. Because if we come here on this show and only talk about the negative, you just, actually you say, how are these people going to get this money?
Okay, now that you've gone into other comments, because I have a question on the pillars. I am reading from the revised guidelines for parish development model. And I'm reading the pillars.
There's nothing like revised. This is one parish model guidelines.
It has a comment revised.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the one. I'm not the author.
Before they are even tested.
And I also read the
you
first
have revised.
one. I read the first guidelines. There are changes and improvements. So I need to credit people who have revised.
Why do you credit them?
No,
they revised before even
it is better than what I read before at the beginning. So, Honorable Garabuzi, in these pillars, they are not named in any kind of priority, like what comes first, what comes last. And it's the way you've explained them. So number 1 is agricultural value chain, and then number 5 is community mobilization and mindset change. And I'm asking for the benefit of the ordinary viewer out there, what should come first among these pillars?
And that's how.
And are you going to name them according to priority in terms of when you are going to implement them?
And that's what I was going to end up with. Because the 6th pillar, which is information, parish-based information system, is data collection, and for us not to go down on the ground without information, without data. Because data and information, not data and information are two different things. Data is what creates the information for a particular objective. And this time we're using technology to do that. And the last pillar, which is the seventh, is the governance and administration. Now, if I'm to reorganize them according to how we get into the...
How are you implementing them?
That's what I'm getting to. You start with governance and structure and administration. We had a gap, like Edward explained. We have governance structures all the way from the national up to the last mile, which is the parish. The parish has parish development committees, which have elected leaders, and the parish chief, who is a government officer, is the only non-elected person there on the parish. Now, those that did not have, any structure that did not have, that had gaps, we had to fill it first. And that's why we recruited parish chiefs. Once you've finished that, you get into the community. How are you going to get into the community? You get into the community with the two pillars. The first pillar is data collection. That is the pillar 6, which is the parish-based management information system. We are collecting household data, household profiles, parish profiles. That is infrastructure and resource maps that we are going to generate. Household profiles to know the characteristics of the households and who the household is. She mentioned something very interesting. Honorable Babel mentioned something very interesting. She said that the wives, the ladies, the women, are actually the ones who do the hard work. And it's true. When we were in Chibuku piloting and pretesting this
model,
the model, we actually noticed that most household heads are women. Yeah. Most household heads are women. The man either has, because this was eastern part of Uganda, I don't want it to sound rather negative, but most men have 6 homes, 5 homes. Now you'll find in the 4 homes, the house, the lady that is there, the woman of the house, of that home, is the household head. Exactly. And they are so determined to see that their families and that their homesteads get out of poverty and this subsistence economy. So we get there and get this household data, household information. And based on that, we get in with what Edward said. We have enterprise selection with the Chura, and this is what I say that the president has been consistent on this, with the Chura, with the Chibaru. Commercial enterprises, things that can get income into your pocket.
The Chibalo reminds me of the chalk where he keeps writing on the board. I said,
he's a very condescending guy, but I'm used to him, and I think people are used to him. So you go in with community mobilization and mindset change. Then the agriculture value chain comes in for the enterprise selection. And then these other pillars will come in later. They are supportive because road infrastructure, electricity, those are
Thank you. Before I get you off the hook, have you benchmarked anywhere for this program? Because we know there is nothing new under the sun. Have you benchmarked?
Well, I don't know what you mean by benchmarking. You see,
is there any country that has implemented this model and how has it worked?
So you see, benchmarking presupposes that every model, everything that has been done
what
before,
we need, Honorable, is this new or there is somewhere where it has worked?
Let me answer the question.
It is their magic.
Briefly, because we are going to run out of time.
Let me answer this whatever question very clearly. I don't want people to get lost in this so-called thing called benchmarking. Leadership is all about profiling your society.
Okay, let's go to Honorable.
No, I have to finish.
He has answered. They have not benchmarked.
You have not benchmarked.
Yes. It is an innovation.
By Uganda.
Which is not
bad. We agree.
Which is not bad.
Nobody's accusing you.
Why don't you want me to finish?
Please briefly. You are taking more of the time. A show has time.
Let me just say this.
A show has limited time.
Any leader, any upright leader, any visionary leader should actually do things that have solutions for his society.
Thank you very much.
Benchmark elsewhere.
No, thank you.
All societies are peculiar.
We just wanted a yes or no. That's why I was saying you be brief. So it is a no. Honorable Segona.
Now, this young brother of mine has not been as unlucky as myself because I have taught. And when you want to answer a question, to pass a question, you answer the question that has been given to you. And I don't know why he went into the defense. It is a fact that this is an innovation, like there have been so many innovations by President Museveni and his government. And I take no offense with that. My problem with this model, by the way, is he talked of positive criticism, which is not defined in the dictionary. But I wanted to tell him, it's about telling them the things they have not done, which they ought to have done. First, the absence of a legal and regulatory framework. I did ask a question here, for example. I asked him, who accounts? Because under the Public Finance Management Act, there must be an accounting officer for every coin. And that accounting officer is appointed by the PSST. I think the only person who attempted to answer this was Mr. Katende, who said, no, this is a grant. And I said, okay. Then if it is a grant, you have given away this money. What business do you have following up how these people use it?
It is a conditional grant.
Wait, it is a conditional grant.
Yes.
But where is the condition? The condition would have come
in the law.
In the law.
Yes.
And this is why I said President Museveni loves being a jack of all trade. And here I'm talking about the head of state, because I think this one is an ad hoc in this system. The second question, and I think they said, no, there is going to be a parish chief. The parish chief is only going to supervise up to the level of the cooperative society, of the cooperative, or the circle, as you want to call it. And when you say that the circle members are going to be the accounting officers, to account for what? They can only account to the extent of saying, we gave the money to so and so. Two, you said, and I think Mr. Katende was saying, because we are going to computerize and digitalize everything, somebody will not be able to get the money from Mokono, run away, then go and access again from Sekanyonyi. I agree, and who cares? This guy has stolen the money, which is supposed to revolve to the next person. Do not forget, and I'm speaking as a lawyer, and I am sorry to be buried in knowledge. The government...
Don't apologize for that.
Well, I have to apologize because where I'm dealing with people who do not understand the importance of these laws. You don't understand. You in government don't understand the importance of the law. Because this is not the first project or program where you inject taxpayers' money without a legal framework. We asked the same questions on Emyoga, and there were no answers. And they were giving us the same answers you're giving. Generic. We asked these questions in relation to Ntandikwa. Same thing. The second issue, and I liked Mr. Katende, maybe as a consultant who has been hired. He sounded more convincing. But convincing without the basics. Who does the evaluation? I liked the argument that, oh, we have these extension officers. Where have they been, by the way, all along? Have we not been paying them? In Kosase, we investigated money given to NADS. And we found a very big disorientation from the original concept of NADS. NADS is a creature of statute which is intended to provide purely advisory services. By statute, National Agricultural Advisory Services. Instead, on the other hand, and of course we are culpable as well, we were going ahead appropriating money to NADS for seeds, for hulls, etc., as opposed to advisory services to the farmers. When we went deeper to investigate, we found that the Galabuzis in OWC, Operation Wealth Creation, were the ones actually spending and praying and, and feeding on the fund of NADS. You go to the NADS workers at the district, they tell us, but this thing was taken over by OWC. which is another ad hoc imaginary entity created by President Museveni, supervised by his brother, earning and taking trillions of taxpayers' money. The worst example, I was going to call it the best, was somewhere in the Elgon. We reached there and they told us of somebody who had started the growing of apples. And he was alone in that area. So we went and visited his garden. He had about 10 plants. So the NADS people and OWC were telling us, oh, there are so many people up in the mountains. And they saw it was about to rain. So they knew. We had left the car, the parliamentary van, miles away, about 5 miles away. So they said, up there are so many people. So as we came from the man's garden, we came to the township of about 10 shops. So we sat there to take refuge against the rain because it had started raining. And we were fearing that in time the landslides would cover us. So we asked the people who had also gathered, because they knew their MP, the Honorable Woboya, had come with other members of parliament. So we asked them, oh, so you people, where do you come from? Oh, we come from those mountains there. That's where we stay. So it said, so you also growing apples? Apples? No. We are waiting for that man you have visited. When we see him producing enough to attract us, we will ask him for seeds. What do we discover? One, NADS had told us that they supplied him with the inputs, including the planting material. And the man told us, no. For me, I heard it on radio, and I said, since in Kabale some people produce them, let me also try them. NADS telling us they gave him the supplies, the implements. Two, they tell us there are other farmers up in the mountains who are growing them. We meet these people, the alleged farmers, and they tell us, no, we are not. We are waiting to see how that one progresses. But the point is this. We are disoriented from systems, legal framework, regulatory framework. Just like Idi Amin said he had a dream, God telling him to chase the Indians. President Museveni gets a dream. He gets his children. I don't know whether he calls you his son. I don't know whether you would be called his child. He gets his sons and daughters, says, my daughter, I'll give you a job here, go and do this for me. Now he's coordinating. What you are supposed to be coordinating, first of all, must have a framework, because this is government money. For I am entitled as an individual to spend my money the way I want. Let's go to the percentages. First, I'm happy.
Right, but am I allowed to?
Yeah,
yes.
Because as a great lawyer, when mobile money came into this country,
yes,
what was the legal framework?
Zero.
How far are we?
But mobile money was
did we inject government money?
Telecoms.
No, we didn't, but you cannot just...
You see, I am talking about... But first of all, we protested, even that one.
Yes.
You see, because it was done and it was wrong, we must continue.
Yeah.
I was reminding Honorable Galabuzi of the Baganda saying, Dibaliengo teriweka. My late mother, you know that you don't use that leopard's skin to carry baby. Said, no, my late mother used to carry my late brother with it.
I know.
They are all dead.
Yes.
Okay? So everything that you've done without a framework is dead, and you are not supposed to do it. I want to agree.
Does the law supersede a good idea? Or you first get
a good idea should be given a framework.
You don't spend a single public coin without a framework. That's the point. Whose good idea, by the way? It can only be a good idea of the nation.
Yes.
We are entrusted together to run this country. It is not a single man's show. That one old man wakes up, he says, oh, I have an idea, and you inject our money. You come to all of us, we guide you, we help you. And we are not opposed, by the way, to alleviating poverty. The strategy must be one, a shared strategy, poverty eradication strategy, shared in terms of conception as well as implementation. And that's where we need to come in.
Let me just allay your fears, Honorable Segona. There is actually a policy framework. And it is supposed to have been laid.
And the legal?
It's supposed to have been laid
and the
in Parliament.
Yes. Do you lay it for approval after implementing?
After launching.
So,
is it the cat or the horse?
You wait for that legal framework and you will debate it.
You
But
see?
like Edward has said.
Do you respect these
You see,
institutions?
It's a good idea.
You see, for me,
But a good idea is
for me, I don't want to get into the legal gymnastics.
Supposing you come to
Even
Parliament
pilots.
and we tell you, no, supposing you come to Parliament and we tell you it's not a good
But
idea,
all comes later.
or you think it is rubber stamping. You see, you do first things first, and that's what organized people do, running a state.
When I already told you the regulations, the legal framework and the regulations that we are working under right now are there. There
Which
is
ones?
nothing, and I'm
No,
telling
which
you,
ones? Tell me.
Listen, and I'm telling you, I want to reverse this question to you. You tell me which activity that is being done under this strategy that is not under a particular law or that is illegal. You tell me one.
This model you're talking about.
These are the activities.
Now,
Let me just
I will
say this.
No,
let me-
tell us
these are
the law.
Tell me the law.
Not the activities.
if we are
local
talking
government
about
act, let me just say this. The Local Government Act is creating the structures. I've told you about the pillars, and the pillars, that's where the activities
Which
come
structures? The Local Government Act, which I was which I was able to teach for 10 years, okay, has the following structures. If you're talking about the lead governance, LC1, LC3, LC5.
LC2 is also there.
Where?
It is there.
Do you have
At the
an
parish.
LC1, an LC2 chairman?
Yes.
Where?
They are there.
Do you have LC4 chairman?
No,
What does it do?
the counties, that one I think was repealed.
You see,
it was repealed.
Let me tell you.
2 is from 1.
To do
2
what?
is generated
To
from
do
1.
what? Do they
The
have
electoral
original
college.
jurisdiction or
No,
appellate?
they don't.
Zero. I'm speaking.
Two comes
Now
from
be
one.
educated on these things. I will listen to you on economics, even when your system is gambling with it. That system is not there. Because we did not envisage that the Ministry of Local Government will be a medium of conveying money from government to the grassroots. That's number one.
Yeah.
He talked about the Cooperative Societies Act. When we were making that law, or when Parliament was making that law, what was envisaged are private cooperative societies.
And they are still private.
Although regulated. They were not going to feast
On taxpayers' money.
taxpayers' money.
Yes.
The component of taxpayers' money must be backed by law. Both
But
at
it
the
has
level,
gone there as a
listen,
grant.
both at the level of appropriation and at the level
A grant
of
is
supervision.
not refundable.
A grant, no. You
This is
say
a revolving fund.
you're giving a grant.
Yeah, but honorable.
Who gives you those powers? The money
appropriation-
is appropriated for government activities.
Yeah, honorable, the appropriation comes from you. When the money hits the circle, we have Tier 4 financial institutions and Money Lenders Act.
Mr.
Those are
Katende, if
private
I may
monies.
ask, Mr.
Yeah, but
Katende,
once it comes to
Mr. Katende, as a financial expert,
Yes.
if I may ask,
Yes.
the developed world uses experts to generate ideas. Ideas are put through incubation centers. Ideas are put through pilot schemes. And then when confirmed and gaps ironed out, they are rolled out for massive implementation.
And even then,
why are we doing the reverse in this
what you
country?
We are not doing the
Mr.
reverse.
Katende.
Where is the legal framework?
Sir, for
And where is the incubation?
financial inclusion, we are actually deepening what we started so many years ago.
Where?
In 2006.
Yeah, under what law?
From 2006.
You see, since 2006,
Yes.
you do not have a legal framework. And that's what we are telling
And that's
you.
why they are,
And this
and
is
that's the
positive
question.
criticism. For example, if this person borrows money from the SACCO and he doesn't return it,
The same has happened to youth livelihood.
like youth
program.
livelihood, like Entandikwa, etc.
You handle them under Tier 4.
I want to bring
how?
in.
Because you have not.
I want to bring in.
But have you
I want to bring
have
in
you met
Lillian.
people complaining about
Let me
people
bring
that
in-
have run away with their monies?
Let me bring in Lillian.
They
Lillian, there
complain,
was
but
a
they don't
question.
take legal action.
Lillian, there was a question from one of our viewers that you're saying that spending, I don't know whether I got it right. Caesar is saying Honorable Abel thought that government should keep spending irrespective of return. what happened to evidence-based approaches for poverty alleviation? And maybe in addition to that, you can say your comments on the debate.
You know, I have been the most disciplined panelist here, and I will keep that status.
Thank you.
But first thing first.
She has awarded marks to herself.
Because she kept, you know.
You know, for me, I am a realist in the first place. And I do agree with the issues you're raising, all this framework, legal framework here and there. But now let me talk like my voters in Kitgum. What they want is what can get them out of the poverty. And I can tell you all these things will be fixed. Yes, we can bring we'll bring it in parliament, we'll suggest these, all these views will be incorporated. But for anything to start, one step must be made. And the steps which are made, if others need to be adjusted, will be. I don't want to castigate the implementers of this parish model. I had the issues
on that point, Lillian, on that point, we have the direction of the debate has gone to legal gymnastics and been diverted from the reality and the intention of
Can I have Lillian speaking?
Yeah, so you know, in Parliament, that's when you'd say information, and I allowed him to give the information.
Sarah doesn't want me.
But also remember, it must be useful information.
Quiet for a long time.
You people, I have said,
Mm.
I intentionally accepted to be the most humble person on this panel, not because I can't interfere. But I want to mention the issue of the taxes. You see, we must make it clear to the public like that taxation is not a crime. And for any government to generate income or revenue to support or to finance its own budget, we must tax people. So what we are saying is that before we milk, can we feed the cow? Feeding the cow is bringing in the parish model, bringing in the imyoga, bringing all these interventions. But if we continue making taxation look like it's a crime, then the country, you cannot have our cakes and also eat it. It can't be like that. So yes, the government has to tax, but we need to empower people. We need to empower the citizens to be in position to at least live an average, you know, standards. Can I afford the basic needs? And this is the heart of the parish model. Can we relieve people from the poverty? From living below $1? Can I afford medication? Can I afford education?
But
can I afford all this?
Segona wants to hear the legal gymnastics.
Before we even look at all these other issues, for me as a layman person, I would be watching this show and I'm like, what are the process of benefiting from this program? What are the what are the areas the program is looking at? And when do I get and where do I get it from? How much can I get? So I don't think that we should look at some of this criticism so much at this time. I need us to invest more time in expounding deeply on the program itself.
But on that
what
point,
is the strategy?
Are you saying that, you know, as you were talking, that we can't talk of the law and the rest when
No, I'm not saying we can't talk about the law.
But
we can talk about the law, but that shouldn't be...
Let me put my question. You know, when we were studying physics, such made this principle, when the professor fell in water and then water splashed and realized that the body must in the bottom. So we are as if we have made a discovery and we must run and then everything else can come later. Why can't we be organized? What have we learned from past interventions that have failed to alleviate poverty? And what is the rush about? Why can't you draft laws, take them to parliament, first things first, and move systematically? This is taxpayers' money.
Sarah, if I may take your position of moderation, because you are now taking the position of a debater.
No, I am directing debate.
Do you really think that the parish model cannot register success?
Because of the legal gymnastics
my point is, this country is governed by the Constitution and laws. We are not governed by air, dreams, and excitement. Why is it that we cannot move systematically?
What is the fear about?
It is not about fear. Why do you
What is
move
the fear about?
with no regard?
You see, by the way, the parish model is more of demand-driven. You see, we are the
so
Ugandans.
We shouldn't talk about frameworks.
No, I'm not saying we don't need a framework. We do need a framework. Yes, we do need it. But for me, my point is, this parish model is demand-driven. We said Ugandans are poor. We said Ugandans can't afford.
Have we just realized that for 36 years?
Well, that's not what I said. I am saying
and why
what
are you
is on
giving it
ground.
36 years?
We are saying we don't have leadership. We are saying we don't have jobs.
Some leadership.
We are saying we don't have jobs. And then we are saying the background or the magic bullet to fighting poverty is that Uganda is blessed with good land, good soil. We can go into agriculture. We said agriculture is the magic bullet because that is what the whole population does anyway and lives on. So then we said, okay, the parish model will focus more on this. Where do we start from? Is it central government or we take it to the district? We said, no, money is being eaten from central government. Maybe the locals don't touch this money. Money is going to be taken to the parish model. And then again, there's a question. Who is going to be in charge? We said, let's get a parish chief who will be there to be in charge. We have people who are extension workers who will be training people. Who do we look at? A cluster of people, because we can't give Ugandans, individual Ugandans, money. So we are looking at a circle where we can train them together, where we can follow and use this circle as a team that we can easily
Lillian,
support.
if I may ask you to put it the other way around, what do you lose, what do we lose as government if we first established a legal framework and planned this scientifically? What would we lose? Is it time or money?
I am not in disagreement with having a legal framework.
Yes, and I'm asking
I'm
if we put the law first.
Agreement.
If we put in the law first, because the others
coordinator
failed,
gymnastics.
because we did not have the law.
Are we saying it is late to do that?
But really, in addition,
it's not late to do that. We are
here
here discussing it.
I will come to Katende, but
we are
really,
here.
as you conclude, you were in the National Youth Council when the Youth Livelihood Program was rolled out. You know the recovery challenges, even the people that government wanted to take to court who failed to pay, but there was no legal framework. So what is your take about this and how different will it be?
The strategy of the parish development model is totally different from the
No, I'm talking about failure to recover because of lack of
she's answering the question. Just let her answer the question, or we answer the question.
You know, Sarah wants me to answer the question the way she wants.
Exactly.
No.
But,
I am saying you refer to the youth.
Allow me use my brain for now. At least since I'm seated with my brain here, allow me use mine.
Very family on your shoulders.
You see, the Youth Livelihood Program was totally a different strategy. And it is on the basis of the challenges realized from the Youth Livelihood Program that the parish development model comes in to address those gaps.
One of them was the law. What have you done about the law?
Oh God, here we come again.
Are we going to spend a whole evening talking about
gymnastics?
We're saying
you
yes,
know why
we
I call
need
them
it,
gymnastics?
and
That
it will
is
be
not the
rectified.
substance.
You see,
that's not the substance.
So if I may conclude, sir, I want us to look at putting in more money in the parish development model. Putting in more money. If we put in more money and we follow all these pillars, people are going to see a difference. Probably should be worrying that if there is now absolute increase in productivity, where are we going to get the market?
Then how do you ensure they will follow all
products?
those models you are talking about?
It is
the pillars.
You and myself who
the
are
reason
leaders
they didn't follow them,
who are supposed to
no,
go
even with the others,
and help the community
you gave guidelines.
in supporting.
The reason they were not followed is because there was no legal sanction. So what are you doing about it without a legal sanction?
Your question is about the loss. By the way, let me tell you, there is a program of NOSAF 3. It's quite similar to the parish model. Money would be given to the circles, to the groups. I can tell you the program was successful. The issue of saying we were going to lose money here and there, the local communities down there.
The only NOSAF program that succeeded were these public guided ones, roads, schools, hospitals,
No, but
not recoveries.
Even the wealth funds.
That is
have done
according
some
to
good.
you.
Yes.
But I was very much in the middle of NOSAP 3, and I have groups in Kitgum that I can take you to visit, who got little money, around 30 million, and today they have savings in almost 100 million. And this is what we are talking about in the parish model.
Then why are you
By
taking,
the way, my brother
this one?
Segona,
Why are you
I
taking
want to
this one
implore
if
you.
they succeeded and
I
you
want to
got, and you
implore
got money?
you to really get on ground and ask the opinion of the local people.
I have been to Kitgum,
I did
where
that.
you represent. Do you want to tell me what you're telling us is reflected in Kitgum?
You want
where
me
I
to,
have been.
You want me to take you to the groups that benefited from the
I'll be
North-South?
very happy.
For the parish
Because
development
I have
model,
been to
they
Kitgum.
haven't benefited yet. But they will.
What you're saying is not reflected
For me,
in the
I can make a commitment. And I want to call upon
They are rich,
leaders.
then why are we bringing in this?
By the way, I can call, I have
Maybe,
to.
why don't we exclude
My
them
brother
now that
Segona.
they're protected?
Okay,
I thought lawyers are disciplined people.
Yes.
So let me tell you.
But you don't evade the questions
Please, I
under
will
discipline.
conclude so that
me,
we bring in Honorable Mr. Katende.
For me, what I want to tell the listeners out there and the leaders, you need to invest your time, first of all, to understand this program. Secondly, you need to invest time to seek the opinion of those. I did that. I had meetings with the groups. And when you explain, they were like, when is this money coming?
Yeah, it is about money coming.
When is
Everybody
this
would
money
be
coming? We
excited.
want to. There are women groups who already even, they have put money together to buy seeds. They are saying, when do we get money to start the production? We want to be models. My brother Segona
They have the money to buy the seeds, so they are waiting for this money to
You know,
go.
Sarah, the only problem I have with those who have different ideologies is to punch holes in every intervention government makes. But this one here, it's very difficult to punch a hole.
Sarah said it is
something
their
that
duty.
is a magic bullet.
Sarah said it's their
And let's
hear from
let's
Mr.
not interfere
Katende.
with the
Let's
mindset
hear
of the
from Mr. Katende. You've had the questions being raised, and you've been itching to respond.
Yeah, no. The debate reminded me of a great teacher who saved somebody's life on a Sabbath. And the Pharisees came and told him that he broke the law. And he asked them, that is the life of this person not more important than your Sabbath? Here we are faced with a problem.
I wish you could give them time to answer that question.
16 million Ugandans.
I would answer.
Where 16 million Ugandans are stuck in the subsistence economy. We are faced with a situation where in Kampala, where we are seated, our young people have no jobs. If we don't give them jobs, they are a security threat to us. Not just anybody, but to us who are seated here. We are faced with a situation where mothers are struggling with their children who, for example, when I was in Bukedi, what I saw there at 9:30 a.m., the children were still playing. In Kampala, my own children are in class by 7 o'clock. And I will ask myself that how can these children compete with my children in Kampala so that they can compete for the same opportunities 20 years from now, the way I have been able to do so. So I think this is a very fundamental problem that requires all stakeholders to work together. I agree with you, Honorable. We need to look at the laws and follow the laws. But that said, existence of the laws has not stopped, for example, people stealing money using procurement. You have a procurement laws in the country, but Ugandans are still stealing from us. So there are many different laws that we have in place that equally have not solved this bigger problem that we have. So there is no one silver bullet to this big problem. So we expect our policy makers and our lawmakers, like you're guiding, to continue guiding the process. And it's a long-term commitment, which will never be solved within a single year's budget, because now we're looking at the 100 million, but it cannot be solved within a single year's budget. And I also don't think it is something you can solve within the one parliament. It's going to be a very serious battle for us as a country. So my proposal would be that whatever we can do to support the process, including critiquing it, we do it properly, but bearing in mind that big problem that we have faced of our children who in some places do not know where the next meal will come from, of our children who do not know whether they have a future anyway. They have given up on life because Kampala, in their view, has abandoned them. In my view, it's a great opportunity for even budget decentralization, to take the resources, not just the financial inclusion money, but resources that can actually bring balanced development in the country, where
planning and budgeting, yes.
all parts of the country can benefit from the national budget, instead of officers in Kampala creating projects and use all the money on themselves when our people continue to suffer. So for me, that's the bigger picture I would like us to look at. And in my view, that is what the parish development model is here to achieve. It's not a perfect system. It's not a perfect model. It can be improved along the way.
And I will start with you as we all conclude in 1 minute. Your message to Ugandans out there about the parish development model.
My message to all Ugandans is that it is time for all of us to prioritize our parishes. If there is anything, any skill, any gift, any resources, any assets that you have, while government has come to the parish to lend a hand, it is our responsibility as citizens of Uganda to bring about our own development. So let us use the resources we have, the gifting that we have, the assets we have, the contacts, the network that we have, take it back to our parishes where we come from. And over the next 5 to 10 years, if we will all do that without just waiting for government to help us, I think we will see the dream of the parish development model being improved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Katende. Honorable Abel, your message to Ugandans out there?
The parish model is here to give answers to the questions you've been asking. One of the strongest vehicles in fighting poverty would be your engagement in agriculture. At least in Uganda, we are blessed with land, we are blessed with good weather, we have good soil. So don't sit back and wait. Don't listen to more of the criticisms on the parish model. The money is coming to the parish, go and get it, use it to change your lives. If you concentrate on listening to the pessimistic views, those who are already predicting about the death of the parish model, others who look at the positivity will benefit, their lives will change. Don't fail to try. Go out there, train others, those who have understood the program, and ensure that the lives in the community changes. It is our responsibilities as Ugandans to support each other to get out of poverty and make Uganda a better place.
Thank you very much. Honorable Segona, your parting shot.
It is treasonable for people who know to pretend and behave as if they don't know. When you listen to a very intelligent man like Katende here speak and smearing the program with all the problems, you have reasons to worry. Countries like Netherlands, when they wanted to take off, and the orientation was about agriculture, what they did first was research, marketing, and when it came to empowerment, they empowered those that are able to kickstart the economy. When these people speak, you get the impression that the 61% are okay, which is not the case. We are not against empowering the people to get out of poverty, but you must connect all the operations of government from what they are saying, nobody promises you that is the next 6 months, which is the life cycle, for example, of production in a rural farm, is that you will have the roads, the electricity, etc. Assuming an accident was to happen and you produce because of these people, the honorable members, people who are waiting for money, they have already bought the seeds and are waiting for money. I don't know what to do what. You will overproduce and there will be no market. That is not to say you do not go to partake on this money. This money has come. They have been stealing trillions. It is an opportunity for you to access part of this money. I'm a realist, but the worst crime government can commit is informality. Doing things as if there is no and there can be no system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Galauzi, you have the last word.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah, and my fellow panelists. Honorable Segona, I'll just put it in very few words. I've just noticed that mindset change should start with the leaders. It should start with the leaders so that they know exactly what their role is in leadership. Honorable Segona, leadership is not about gymnastics and this. It is about solving people's problems. It is about solving people's problems as easy in the easiest way possible, probably even fastest way possible. For me, my message to the viewers out there, we have designed this in a very, very good way. Implementation is what has always been a problem in our country. And we have mitigated those particular problems and gaps, just like Lillian has said, from experiences of former programs, that have been, the interventions that have been there before. And we have tried as much as possible to close the gaps. Now, I would want to sum up this, my parting shots with this. Macroeconomics and microeconomics should not be so far apart from each other. You seem to believe that we deal with the macro and leave the micro. But you know, even in the beginning when Honorable Segona, you asked about how does this translate to our economy as in general. You see, economic growth is measured, one of the measures is GDP. And GDP is an average. You have the haves, the haves are there, and the have-nots are very many. That average is usually distorted. But this is pure, simple math. If you want to get that average up, get these ones that lower it up into the money economy. And we have stressed this point. Get these people out of subsistence, where they don't have income, where they cannot pay taxes, where they cannot actually reflect anywhere in the economy. Get them into the money economy and then stabilize the macroeconomics. We have put a lot of money in the big infrastructure development that we are talking about. You're talking about roads. If you're not looking at roads, we have built roads. We are doing interconnectivities. We have invested a lot in electricity. Okay? And this all is to prepare these people and the production and the productivity for the betterment of our economy. This is very strategic. This is very well orchestrated to create change in this country. And no stone is going to be left unturned. Not even your criticisms, Honorable Segona. Not even your legal gymnastics that you're trying to apply here. Our focus is to change, to uphold and enhance the incomes of these households, and we shall do it. The 39% from subsistence into the money economy is going to be a reality in a very short time.
To our dear viewers, you can follow up this debate on YouTube. It will remain going. Comments on Twitter. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening to us. And to our distinguished panelists, thank you for finding time to share your views on the parish development model with the Ugandans. And we hope this is just the beginning, and more of sensitization, of sharing information, but also taking feedback to improve the program should continue to happen. Thank you very much. Till next Wednesday. Good night.
Hey, that's a good sign. You did this. Continue doing that sign.
This weekend, Youth of Purpose.
As you see all these sergeants in front, the guard commanders, we are at the same rank.
Yes.
But through training, that's when they choose that this one has a good voice. Let him be the parade commander, because you should be able to command so that even the person on the last guard hears.
In patriotism, they tell us that corruption does not mean taking only bribes. It means even if you're taking water and drop a bottle in the compound, you're corrupting your country.
Patriotism is not about like just marching like this.
Doing drills.
Yes, it doesn't mean that, but it means that you should love your country with your whole heart.
How does it feel to be commanding your